Hello, in this video we are going to be setting up OpenGL using SDL and GLEW on a Windows machine using Visual Studio. If you're interested in setting it up on Mac, we've got a video covering that, so feel free to check that out. And this video will cover setting it up using relative linking. We have a separate tutorial covering absolute linking, just a brief overview of the difference. An absolute linked project would essentially have your libraries and your external stuff like GLEW, SDL linked in a way where you explicitly put in the actual path to where they are. So like they're in the C drive, they're in this folder, in this folder, in this folder. Relative linking is, well, relatively linked to your actual project. So what you're essentially saying is get the project location, and we'll be using like this special environment variable called solution dir. We'll explain that very, very soon in this video. And that says wherever your project is, get that path and try and get the library relative to that. So it's great for portability, moving it around on your computer, moving it around to different systems, definitely great for that. So choose which one you want and yeah, just follow that video. So the first thing that you need to do, make sure you got Visual Studio downloaded. I got 2015, though 2017 is out. I would still recommend 2015 simply because a lot of the libraries aren't fully working with 2017 yet, so my recommendation is 2015. Okay, once you've got that out of the way, you want to download GLEW. Just go to the GLEW homepage. I will probably link in the description, or you can Google it. Just download the binaries, not the source file, the binaries, which includes the 32-bit and 64-bit. I've already got it downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again. Next, you want to go to the SDL website. I can never remember what the website is. It's not SDL.com, that's like something else. It's libSDL. Okay, so just go to that, go to SDL 2.0, and let's go down to development libraries, download the VC one, so the Visual C++. Again, I already have it downloaded. So once you've got all of that downloaded, and I've got it on my desktop, create a project create a folder for your project, and I'm going to call it OpenGL. You can put it wherever you want, and again, the beauty of relative linking is you can move it wherever. Ooh, what happened there? It renamed everything. That's not what I wanted at all. OpenGL. And in here, create another folder called external libraries. In here will reside SDL and GLEW. First, extract both of the libraries using something like WinRAR, which has that, that old famous 40-day trial, which is, unlimited, and or use something like that. Once you've extracted them, open them up, and what you want to do is move the folder that contains all of these files and folders. So it's this one right here. Do the same for GLEW as well. Just move that over. And this is an optional step. I would recommend renaming GLEW and the SDL folders too, or GLEW and SDL without the version. The reason I like renaming it is because when you start linking it up in your Visual Studio project, you're linking it up with that name. It's just easier if you just have to type in SDL instead of, I don't know, SDL 2-2.05 or whatever it was. I don't even know. Whereas with SDL, I know it's SDL. With the GLEW, I know it's just called GLEW. The other thing is, if let's say we downloaded GLEW version 2, that's what we've got, and let's say in 2 months time GLEW 2.0.1 comes out and it fixes a bug that we've been really trying to fix. We want to download it, we want to put it in here, so we could literally just replace the contents of the GLEW folder with the new version. If it has a version tagged onto it, it looks a bit stupid if you've got it's saying version 2 but you've got a newer version, or a different version, and you could say, okay, you could rename the folder. If you rename the folder, you have to go back to Visual Studio and relink it up, whereas if you have it without a version, it's future-proof. So that's essentially what you're trying to do. Reduce the amount of time you have to spend later on by putting a bit of effort earlier now. So once you've got that all downloaded, that's good. Just download, just open up Visual Studio 2015 or whatever version you've got. Go to new project, go to Visual C++, Win32 console application. I'm going to name it GL app. Browse to your folder, not the external libraries, just outside of it. So this OpenGL folder we created. Click select folder, make sure you've got create directory for solution selected, click OK, click next on the wizard, make sure you got console application selected, empty project, deselect security development lifecycle, click finish, and that has just created our folder, our project right here. Before we actually start linking it up in the properties section, there's a section missing here that should be C/C++, and that doesn't appear until you add, well, a C++ file, so Visual Studio knows what sort of project it's dealing with. So to do that, right click your project, go to add, new item, type in main, or call it whatever you want. I like to call it main because it's going to be the main entry point. And if we go back, you'll see it says C++. So just click C++ general. Make sure in configuration we have all configurations selected. For the platform, select either Win32 or x64 with SDL and GLEW. Download both of them. I would recommend using Win32 unless you need more than 3 GB of RAM or something like exclusive to a 64-bit version. But 32-bit allows or ensures maximum compatibility across systems. So that's just my recommendation. But as long as you know which platform you're dealing with, you just link up the appropriate libraries. So go to General, Additional Include Directories, click the drop down, click Edit, and just either click New like so, or just double click here. Don't click the 3 dots, because if you do it that way, that's absolute linking. To do relative linking, put $, open close brackets, within the brackets, put solution dir, and this little keyword refers to wherever your .sln file is. So at the moment, it's in a folder called OpenGL GL app on the desktop, but regardless of where it is, it'll get that path to it. And because we want to link it up to these external libraries, we need to go back a folder. So we need to put // So now we are here because we've gone back. Now we need to go into external libraries. So external libraries / go into GLEW / include. And this is just setting up the code files for GLEW, like so. You want to do something very similar for SDL as well. So if we just copy that, click new, paste it, and instead of GLEW, replace it with SDL like so. Just click OK. Go to Linker, General. Go to Additional Library Directories, click the drop down, click Edit, paste here what you've already got, because you'll just save you having to type it out again. There's a slight little difference for this one. So if you go to GLEW, you want to go to lib, release, and then the architecture that you're developing for, or you've chosen to develop for. So Win32 for me. So you just type in, instead of include, it's lib /release /win32, and just add a new one. And this is going to be for SDL. SDL's one is structured slightly differently. So it's SDL lib x86 for 32, x64 for 64-bit. So x86, so /lib /x86, click OK. And the last thing in your properties is go to input, additional dependencies, edit here. You need to specify the library files that we need for our project. So the first one is OpenGL32.lib. This isn't downloaded with GLEW or SDL. It's actually built into Windows. Next is SDL2.lib, then SDL2 main.lib. So if we go to our folder, we are including these two. And then we need to include the GLEW one, which is this one here, GLEW32.lib. There's one that has S at the end, that's for static linking. So if you know what static linking is and you want to go down that route, just include this one instead of GLEW32.lib. Click OK. That's your project all set up. Click apply. And now we can actually start coding. So I'm going to close this down, so we got a bit more real estate to work with. First thing, it's going to put a hash include IO stream. Now I'm going to put a hash include, and as you can see, it picks up our SDL files and it automatically gets the directory regardless of where it is. Next, we're going to put hash include gl/glew.h. For glew, if you do statically link it, you need to put hash define glew underscore static before this line. But as we haven't statically linked it, we don't want that hash defined there. Next, we want to hash include SDL underscore OpenGL.h. Make sure this is after the GLEW header include. Now we're going to create a couple of constants that are going to be of GLint, and these are just going to be the width of our window, and I think you guessed it, the height of our window. So we're going to do 800 by 600. I'm going to put some empty lines so it's easier for me to scroll up and down. Put int main. You want to put arg. Inside here you want to put int argc, which is the argument count. Then character asterisk argv. This is an array, so these are the argument values. You don't really need to know what this is doing because this is just for SDL. You can have like a C++ project with this and not have it for SDL, and not be developing for SDL, but other frameworks like SFML don't require this, but SDL does, so that's just something to bear in mind. Next, we're going to initialize SDL, so SDL underscore init, and this takes a parameter of what you want to initialize, so SDL underscore init underscore, and this shows the individual stuff you can initialize. I'm going to keep it simple and just initialize everything. Next, we're going to set some attributes to our SDL, so essentially like property settings. SDL underscore GL, so these are the OpenGL properties, underscore set attribute. The first attribute we're setting is essentially the OpenGL profile, which will be the core profile. So we get the new OpenGL stuff. So SDL underscore GL underscore context underscore profile mask, and we need to specify the masks, which is going to be SDL underscore GL underscore context underscore profile, and this is core. So we could do compatibility, which is like the old stuff, could do ES, which is embedded system like mobile devices, but we just want core. Next, SDL underscore GL underscore set attribute, and we're going to set the version of OpenGL. So SDL underscore GL underscore context underscore major version, comma, and this is going to be free. Copy and paste this for the minor version. So just replace major with minor, and we want this set to free as well. So what this has done is essentially set OpenGL version to 3.3. So if I were to set this to a 0, that would mean set OpenGL version to 3.0. So the major version is what's to the left of the decimal point of OpenGL, and the minor version is what's to the right of the decimal point. So get rid of that. We want another SDL underscore GL underscore set attribute, and this is going to be the stencil size, the stencil buffer size. This is all covered separately in OpenGL tutorial, so feel free to check them out as well. So stencil, so the default size for this is just recommended at 8. And now we can actually create our SDL window. So we're going to put SDL underscore window. It's going to be a pointer. So window equals SDL underscore create window. And the first parameter we need to specify is the title of the window, which is essentially what pops up here. So I'm going to put in OpenGL. Next, we specify the starting position. So I'm just going to put 0, 0. So the window, the top left of our window will start here. And next we specify the width and the height, which we created as constant. So width, height. And then finally, we specify that we want to use OpenGL, so any flags, and we're going to have SDL underscore window underscore OpenGL. So that's it for creating the window. Now we need to create a OpenGL context and apply the window to it. SDL underscore GL context equals SDL underscore GL underscore create context, and in here just specify the window. And now we just need to essentially enable GLEW. So GLEW experimental, set this to GL underscore true. Though it says experimental there, just ignore that. That's essentially what you need to set to true to be able to use the new OpenGL functions and to be able to use the new OpenGL function pointers and extensions. So I don't think the word experimental is the best thing there. I think that should just be called GL enable, you put GL true, or something like that, or have a method for it. But that's the way they've gotten about it. Next, we are going to initialize GLEW. So we're going to do this inline. So we're going to do GLEW underscore OK. If the response from initializing GLEW isn't OK, then something's gone wrong, which is this GLEW init, which tries to initialize it. If it's not equal to OK, then we put std cout failed to initialize GLEW, end the line, and now just put a return exit underscore failure, and that's it for the GLEW part of it. So that's all the GLEW stuff done. Now we just need to define our viewport dimension. So GL viewport 0, 0. So this is the starting stuff, and now we put the width and the height of our viewport. This will be all covered in separate videos, so feel free to continue with the series, and we'll explain what the viewport and other OpenGL constructs are. Next, we just need to create an event system. So SDL underscore event window event. So while this is true, we first would check for any events. So we would first do if SDL underscore poll event. So we're going to poll the window event, and it's going to be a reference to this. And if there's any events occurring, next we want to check what the event is. So if the window, if the window event type is equal to SDL quit, that is essentially saying we're trying to quit the application. So if it equals window event dot type, then we break out of the while loop and we essentially end the application. That's the only event that we're going to handle for this video. Feel free to check out other tutorials that cover how to handle different events. So next, we're going to put GL clear color. So it's going to clear the screen color, and this, you can almost think of it as like a background color. It's going to be 0.2F for red, 0.3F for green, and 0.3F for blue, and 1.0F for the alpha. So this range is between 0 and 1, 0 being off, 1 being fully, active for one of these values. Very similar to ranging between 0 and 255. It's just normalized between 0 and 1. Next, what you want to do is clear the color buffer. So GL clear, and you specify the actual buffer you're clearing. So GL underscore color underscore buffer bit, like so. And here is where you would draw your OpenGL. And finally, you put SDL underscore GL underscore swap window, specify the window here, and that's it. So outside of the while loop, you just need to do some sort of handling and handle some of the stuff we've created. So you do SDL underscore GL underscore delete context. Specify the context that you're deleting, which is what we created up above. Next, we need to destroy the window. So SDL underscore destroy window, and we specify the window. And finally, just quit SDL, SDL underscore quit. And this is a method. And finally, return exit underscore success. So if we run this now, let's see what happens. So it's successfully compiled. It's saying it can't start because it's missing a DLL file. I knew this problem was going to occur. Didn't want to copy over the DLL file to the correct location because I just wanted you to see this error just in case you come across it in the future on future projects, so you know how to fix it. So let's go to your GLEW library, go to bin, release, select the architecture that you've chosen to develop for, Win32 for me, select the DLL file, copy that, go to GL app and paste it where your CPP file is, right here, run that now. As you can see, no errors, and we have our window. You might think, why is it sort of here and we can't see the top bar? Remember, if we scroll back up, let's just quit out of this. These two values refer to the initial starting position. So if I put 200 by 300, it will start 200 pixels across in the left, the horizontal axis, and 300 pixels down in the vertical axis. So if we click close, it handles that close event because we've handled it right here. So there's one last thing I want to cover, actually a couple of things. First is the general structure of your game loop, which is this while loop here. So the first thing you do is handle events and input. So this is essentially what this will be doing. After that, you would update game logic, and it's very common to update it based on your events as well. So this you'd do some things. So for example, if the player, the user clicks the left key, you would pick it up here, maybe update it here, so to move left, or you could update it here as well. Sometimes this section will blend together. Maybe here you have a background that's constantly scrolling. You could put that code here. Then this is all part of the drawing aspect of OpenGL, so you would clear it first. This line isn't required, it just has that clear color, because without this you just get a black background, which can be very boring. So before we spice it up a bit with a clear color, so you're clearing the contents of the screen, you're drawing in your OpenGL stuff, and then this essentially displays it to the screen. So that is it for setting up OpenGL with SDL and GLEW using Visual Studio on Windows for relative linking. The last thing I actually wanted to show you was, we'll go to the project. You might be thinking, oh, do I have to go through this process over and over again if I want a new project? Because I said you could move this folder around on your computer and on other computers, but what you can do is, if you simply copy and paste this project, you have two different projects now. They're all linked to the external library, so you don't have duplications of the external libraries. If, for example, you wanted different copies on different computers, you would essentially just have different copies of this folder, which again would have different copies of the external libraries, but that's going to always be the case whether you use it relative or absolute linking. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on our educational platform, sonarlearning.co.uk. There'll be a link in the description along with the GitHub page, which will have all the source code, SDL and GLEW. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. And as usual, thank you for watching and I hope you have a great day.